Hello, this is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. I'm excited to have Daphne back on the channel. She's got a new van. Her and her partner Matt are going to give us a tour today. So join us.
Hi, I'm Daphne.
And I'm Matt.
And welcome to our home. You might remember me from the channel a couple years ago. Patrick and I did a tour of my first van, which I unfortunately lost in an accident. And we got to rebuild back bigger and stronger and better.
Take a look at our 2015 Ford 350 Transit, high roof extended. It's got the V6 EcoBoost. It gets between 11 to 13 miles per gallon in that range, depending on city or highway. So come on in.
Welcome inside our tiny house on wheels. This is the cab area, and this is a swivel seat, so this can be part of our living area, and with this table, part of our work area. This is our galley kitchen with a stove, a sink, and a fridge.
Down the hallway here, we have couches on both sides for both of us to sit and eat. Table that slides out that we can eat at, and a queen-size bed that converts into a king.
So now that you've got the general tour, let's jump in and look at some of the specifics of our build. This is my second build, and I feel like we got to make all the improvements on a home that I already loved, but just make it even better. So over here we have the swivel seat, like I mentioned, and this can obviously be a place to hang out, especially when we have a lot of friends. We love to host, so when we've got extra people, this is a good extra seating area. But it is also my workstation. So we have, this is just a piece of plywood we put on the lagoon, and I can put my computer here and do my teaching. I have enough room to teach my flute lessons here as well, or eat a little snack. I can put my little water bottle here, which those little details are funny that they work out like that. And then we have storage above where we keep all of our window covers for the front and the side, as well as the sliding door window. And then we have a curtain that we put up just to block the cab when we don't want to go through the trouble to put up all the window covers. We have that as a quick solution for privacy. In the cab area, we have even more storage. In the doors, we use them as like our medicine cabinets and our pencils and pens. And then back here is a new improved area. I had hooks in the last van, but this is just even better. So we have storage for wipes and lotion. Every van person knows that wipes are key. We have hooks for our dog leash, our coats, my pocketbook, my pot holders, and then we have a vacuum. It's a Makita vacuum. So the battery powers the vacuum, our drill, and our like inflator for the tires. And then this brings us into the kitchen. So this flute handle pulls out to be both our cookware storage and some of our spices. That was exciting. This was like one of the last things that we built, but it turned out to be one of our favorite pieces. And then this is our trash. Again, if you live in a vehicle, you know that having a dedicated trash is like a luxury item, so we love having that. So just like any home, the kitchen is the heart of the home, and if you follow me on Instagram, you know that Matt and I both love to cook. In my last van, I was always getting into shenanigans in the kitchen, so it's really important that I was set up to do that here. So I really don't feel like I want for anything. It's kind of the same size as a New York City apartment. Maybe what I would have got if I stuck around in New York, similar size. So up here I have like a coffee and tea little area. We've got anything you could need to make your dream cup of coffee. Again, the little details that make it just easier and more like home. We just have this little hook for our keys and the switch for the fairy lights and things like that. We have a flip-up countertop piece. The backsplash is actually peel and stick tiles. Highly recommend. This is the Furrion 3-burner stove and oven. It runs off of a propane tank in the back that we'll see later. The oven works very well. I'm able to bake baked goods as well as roast vegetables and all the good stuff. And then below it we've got a really massive, this is even bigger than my last van, storage drawer. So we have all our pots and pans. I have a blender this time, and we have pantry storage. So again, like I don't feel restricted at all cooking in this kitchen. I love cooking in this kitchen. Over here we have two big upper cabinets for our kitchen, and we've got an LED light strip in it and below it that give us extra light while we're cooking. So inside here, I've got all my cooking goods, olive oils and vinegars, spices that are on magnets, and we've got like coffee and flour and sugar and grains, because again, I get into any kind of cooking adventure I might cook up in my brain. Then we've got a basket for vegetables, a basket for fruits. We have a black zapote in here from southern Florida, which I was really excited because you can't find it anywhere else. And then all of our plates and cups and all that fun stuff. The sink, I had the same sink in my last van. I loved it, so I just went ahead and bought the same exact one. It's about 10 inches deep, and I went with black accents and everything. Last time I had gold, but since it was like me and Matt, I wanted a little masculine touch, so I picked black
Thank you.
fixtures for everything. You're welcome. So we've got water from a 45-gallon tank in the back that we'll see later, as well as filtered water and a soap dispenser. Back here we have a magnet strip that Matt made. He's also a woodworker. You can check him out on Instagram, Saucy Custom Creations. So this big old knife, believe it or not, does not go anywhere while we drive. So we love that feature. And then next to it we have USB and AC outlets. Our Bosch hot water heater is on a timing switch, so we can just go ahead and hit this while we're driving. It heats up, and then when we get there we can take a shower in the outdoor shower in the back. This switch opens and closes our gray tank that's mounted underneath the van with a ball valve. In my first van, I had a huge sticker collection that I was really proud of building, as anybody who travels knows, and I lost it in the accident. So Matt was like, take a picture of your fridge and text it to me. So I texted him a picture of my fridge with all of my stickers on it, and he had this sticker made. He made a sticker of all my stickers.
A sticker of the old fridge.
Yeah.
That she couldn't take with her.
It's a sticker. So that is our first, and then just the beginning of our travels. We've been traveling so far for 2 months. So this fridge is totally big enough for the two of us. It's like hyper organized with my fridge. I love going through and taking inventory and deciding what kind of meals can I make from what we have, our leftovers. So it's plenty big enough. And then down here is our bathroom. This is a little bit different than last time. I had it in my couch last time. I moved it to down here because I ditched the indoor shower. So now it's just the Nature's Head composting toilet that's in here. We all love it. I have a little cubby, perfectly fits for our vinegar bottle, and my little gold toilet paper holder. I was very happy to get that salvaged from the old van. The upgrade that we did make this time is a pee funnel. Highly recommend. Unisex pee funnel. Just goes to a hole into the van, so as long as we're not
parked. Get it at your local AutoZone.
Yeah, exactly. And as long as we're not parked in someone's driveway or whatever, you're just basically peeing on the ground. So highly recommend that. Again, just disinfected by spraying a little bit of vinegar in there. Under the sink we were also able to fit a few of the mechanics for the plumbing. So we have the SureFlow 12-volt pump and the filter and the accumulator. And then tucked up back there, we also have the water filtration system. So we were able to really utilize that tiny space.
It was a real tight fit and getting everything to fit, but we have about 1/8 of an inch clearance when you're sliding the toilet in and out. So I was proud of that one.
Yeah. Okay, so as long as we're down here, this is our flooring. It is Ipe, which is a Brazilian hardwood, and we were able to just nail it down to the subfloor, which is on top of rigid insulation. Yeah, we used 1.5 inch XPS insulation. It's actually 60 psi, which is what you use in roofing applications. The Ipe was actually salvaged. It was decaying in a yard somewhere, and we took it all back. We surfaced it, planed it down to the right thickness, sanded it, refinished it, routed the edges. We did everything start to finish here. Ipe is a very dense wood, so it's perfect for. They use it a lot of times in like outdoor decks and boardwalks, things like that. So it's when we're coming and trekking mud and salt water, and we don't have to feel worried about damaging it. And it is the same wood as the knife magnet strip. And also the trim around the windows once we get down there. And then the ceiling is just beadboard. I had that in my last van. I think that this is the #1 compliment I get is the ceiling in terms of the aesthetics of the inside. So it's just beadboard that's sanded and painted white. Underneath there is the same insulation as well as some fiberglass insulation, some little spray can insulation. We used this trim, again same van, I get tons of compliments on it, but it's just from Home Depot. It's baseboard and trim, you'll see it throughout the van. And we also used some quarter round for all the edges just to give that homey effect. I had wallpaper in my last van as well, and I just love it. It's like, this is just 1/2-inch plywood. You know, we did furring strips and then 1/2-inch plywood throughout the whole van. And then the wallpaper is just such an easy way to finish your van. It's a lot of pressure because that wallpaper is your entire home, but I'm super happy. Both of us love it, the white and the gold. Yeah, and just some homey touches.
It's simple but intricate, and it's very calming.
It's very calming.
With not too much color, and that's the majority of what you see too.
Yeah, and I went with a green for the upper cabinets and a like kind of dusty mauve purple for the lower couches.
As you step into our living space, these are the couches. We have a Lagoon table mount with a nice simple piece of plywood. The cushions are removable, and each section of couch has storage, so we have, you know, gym and bathroom type things. This is Izzy's compartment. He gets a whole couch all to himself. And in the back here, this one is miscellaneous, like it's a catch-all. GoPro equipment, some hats, miscellaneous things like that. So we had to build these little ledges to support the bed platform that slides out. So it gave us a perfect opportunity to build these little cubbies into the side wall, into the recessed area. So this cubby right here flips right open, and both of our laptops are stored in here. We cushioned these, bought some headliner fabric and some extra padding, so they're nice and protected while we're driving. This is another miscellaneous electronics that we use on a regular basis. So our chargers, some cords, headphones, hard drive. Down here, this drawer is more electronics. This is really the stuff that we don't really need every day. Back up here, we have my wall-mounted monitor, which is on a robot arm that swings out. Here we have AC and DC power. We have our dimmer switches for the light system and our rocker switches for the lights as well. We have them split into 2 zones. So bedroom, these 2 back bedroom lights are on 1 zone. The front 6 lights in the living space are on a separate one. So if we're hanging out in bed, we can turn the front off and, you know, dim the lights in the back. Right here, this is our slide-out river table that I built. I used a piece of ambrosia maple that I got from a friend's farm and poured the epoxy in with a rock collection.
Yeah, this is my rock collection that my dad and I started when I was young, and my dad passed when I was 16. So it was special to include those here. And yeah, Matt and I poured it. It was actually going to go in my last van, exactly in that part of the counter. But its true destiny was to be here as our
it sat around for about a year before we finished it and, you know, put it to good use. This turns into my workstation as well, so I can pull the monitor out to about here, and I can have my laptop, and I can work. It's, you know, I have a drafting and shop drawing business. It's very hard doing that on a small screen of the laptop, so that's why I have the extra monitor. Let's look at the upper cabinets. This upper cabinet over here is socks baskets with socks and underwear. This is sort of a bathroom area, so we have our toothbrushes and our brushes and things like that. Up here is all towels, bathing suits, hand towels, curtains for the 2 bunk windows that we sewed, you know, custom sewed. On the other side here, these are all of our clothes. As you can see, they're very full. This is all Daphne's clothes, all of my clothes. Honestly, it's enough. It's plenty. We really don't have any other clothing items stored away anywhere. Maybe a sweatshirt here and there, but back here's the bed. Like I said earlier, it's a queen size bed right now. It's technically a short queen size, but me being so tall, I'm about 6'2", I can't fit side to side, so I would have to sleep diagonal. And when you're with your girlfriend and your dog, it gets a little cramped.
It worked for me in the last van alone because I am a short queen, but now we have a long king.
Yeah.
Also, so we had to upgrade and get creative with it.
Yeah, so we really wanted to maximize the amount of space, living space, and not give up too much for the bed. So we came up with a system where the bed is sitting on top of an extra piece of plywood that's reinforced, and it slides out on top of these 2 cubbies on either side. And the cushions that are back behind Daphne, actually, they come out and they act as the bed extension. And this is a king-size fitted sheet, so it can tuck over the cushions, and it was well designed, so I got to pat myself on the back for that one.
So this is our last couch area. We lovingly call it the 33 couch because in our drawings we broke it down that it would be 33 inches. It wasn't. It ended up being 26. Nope. Nothing ever is how you plan it. But this is the 33 couch. So this area is where I keep my flutes. So that works in there. Again, it has padding just like the laptop so that they are protected. My flutes did survive the accident, so I wanted to make sure I designed it well again. And then this is our other couch. It has the hot water heater hiding in here and our laundry. Another thing like the trash that you don't think about, but like designing a space for it was really good and we've got plenty of room. So welcome to where the magic happens, the bedroom.
Oh boy.
We had a lot of goals for this area because Matt is 6'3", so I lived in my first van as a solo female van life traveler, and I'm 5'3", 5'2", 5'3", so I was fine to sleep this way, even with the bump outs that we created. But with Matt coming in, we had to figure out something a little bit bigger. So we have this solution, plus Izzy, plus his best friend Mrs. Unicorn, so there's a lot happening back here. We decided to go with 2 bunk windows. That's different than last time I only had 1. We went with 2 because then it being able to open them, and actually the less you open them, the more concentrated the breeze is coming through the max air fan that we have here. We have another one up front for the cooking, but this one is able to help.
It was sort of a, it was like a hidden gem when we first started living in it because we didn't realize how much these windows would contribute to the ventilation. But when you have the fans sucking out, it really does bring a nice draft in. It's almost like, you know, built-in AC.
Yeah, we just spent 2 months in Florida and we were never uncomfortable at night, always comfortable. So that worked out great. And then we got an iPad mount here for watching TV. The iPad mount is also one that like has feet, that's a stand, so I also use that to teach over in the cab.
It flips open.
Yeah, there's so, you know, you can always build things yourself to make the place more functional, but then there are also things that you just buy and it solves all the problems.
Yeah.
So that's one of those. So then behind us we have the doors. We have 2 windows on these, covers that fold down on them. And we haven't covered these yet. Of course, it's always the last project to do. So you can see our little notes here. We're calculating the height of the cabinet, the counter, the bed platform, the support ledge, and the mattress, and just trying to sort that all out. But we're really happy. It was
really key getting the heights because once you put these extra cushions on, it had to match up with the top of the mattress exactly. So that was sort of something that was always in the back of the head while we were building.
But we both like a math problem, so it worked out good. We can still sit in here, plus we have tons of room in the garage. So honestly, at first I was like sad that it was so, I wish that it was lower so I had more room, but it's really grown on me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now Daphne's going to take you outside to look at the outside of the van and take a look into the garage.
So now that you've seen the inside of our home, let's check out the outside specs. So in the front up here, you can see 2 of our flexible solar panels. We have a total of 4, so we've got 400 watts of solar up there, as well as the fans that you saw from the inside. On this side of the van, the windows we both cut in ourselves. It was kind of interesting. We have the WeBoost. And if you remember from my last video, I had flip out legs for the piano drawer, and we repurposed those flip out legs for here. And Matt, because he's taller, can flip it up so that the WeBoost is taller so you get better service, but not in our way when it's down. Down here we have the exhaust for the Propex heater, which vents into our living space. It runs off of propane. On this side we have the other bunk window which we installed, as well as our water fill dish station. And we're able to fill our water from here. So this goes into our 45-gallon tank, and I had the fill inside the van last time, so it's very nice to have it on the outside. It's just a cleaner way to do it. Thank you, baby. So this is our garage, our storage area, our mechanics room. It's huge. It's way more space than I had last time. We're gonna get blow up paddle boards and kayaks and like fill this with fun stuff. But for now, we just have storage of basic stuff. This is our outdoor shower. So this is plumbed to, again, to the water tank as well as the hot water heater. So this quick connects onto here, and you have a shower. In these containers, we also have 2 shower curtains, one to protect the van from getting wet, and one that wraps around the 3 walls so that you have privacy. This is basically a huge walk-in shower. So yeah, that's our shower solution. I had an indoor shower in my last van that you all really loved, but I decided that it wasn't worth it because we shower at Planet Fitness, $25 a month for the two of us, anywhere we want. So this is exactly what we needed. I'm really happy with it. So in here is all of our mechanics. We have this little door so that you can access the inverter plugs. We have two 204 amp hour SOK batteries, which were lithium ion batteries, which we're very happy with. I have the 3000 watt inverter, which was definitely worth it, as well as our solar charge controller. We have the Renogy DC to DC charger for using the alternator power. We did everything ourselves. Down here is Matt's pride and joy. This is a little diamond plate, what would you call it?
Threshold.
Threshold, yeah. It's just in there to kind of like neaten up, you know, used vans. This part gets really damaged. This makes it look a little bit neater. We have all our tools, and then our propane tank is hiding back here. This is all our snorkel gear my cousin gave us. So our propane tank is there that powers our stove and our heater. So when we're using the heater in the winter, we have to get a new one once a week. When we're just cooking, it's every 2 months. And then we have a carbon monoxide detector and a fire extinguisher. And then back there, you can see the 45-gallon freshwater tank. If we're in here cooking meals, 3 meals a day, full-time in the van, about a week, 5 days. If we're, you know, eating out or doing other things, maybe like 10 days to 2 weeks. So now we're going to go inside and tell you a little bit about our story.
Daphne and Matt, thank you very much for taking the time to give us a tour of your newest creation. A lot of our viewers had followed your journey and saw the accident. Can you walk us through a little bit what happens when you have an accident in your house?
Sure, yeah. So just to give a little backstory, I bought my first van in 2019. It took us 14 months to build it out. Matt was working a 9 to 5. I was a freelance musician. COVID hit, I lost all my performing work, so I took the van that we built and traveled. So I had been traveling all the way from New York to Key West to LA up to Seattle was where I was at. Matt had actually just visited on vacation from work and flown home.
About a week prior.
Yeah, and I went to visit a lavender farm and was headed into Olympic National Park. It was in Sequim, Washington, and I was in a collision that totaled the van. So a woman blew a stop sign, the van rolled. Izzy and I were very lucky to walk away with our lives and very minor injuries, but the van was totaled. So within a matter of seconds, in an event that was completely out of my control, I lost my home, I lost my office, I lost my lifestyle, I lost my financial security. I lost a lot.
I was actually planning all of 2021. I was planning my exit strategy from my job. I worked for a roofing contractor for the last 7 years in New York City, and I was planning on moving into the van with her at the end of the year. So it was sort of a wake-up call for me as well. I had just sold my house. Literally a half an hour before she called me and said that the last van was totaled, I had accepted my offer. So within the same half an hour, we were both homeless.
Yeah, and I remember sitting on the side of the road waiting for the EMTs and everything like that. And there was a homeless man on the opposite corner, and I remember just like empathizing with him so much and realizing, wow, this is really real. So I had to follow the police. The EMTs checked me out. I was okay, so I followed the cops over the tow yard, called a friend from college who thankfully lived nearby, rented a U-Haul, pulled everything I could. So I was able to salvage the stove that you saw, the Nature's Head toilet, the water tank, some of the electrical components, and then most of my belongings, and load them in a U-Haul. It was July, so it's the busiest moving month of the year. So my mom flew out to be with me, and we had to wait 2 weeks. So we had to pay for a hotel in Seattle in the summer, tourist season, and wait for a shipping company to become available, load everything out of the U-Haul into a pod, and ship it home. And I'm running on pure, I mean, that was a trauma, a serious trauma. And I was running on pure adrenaline. Arrived home.
And you'd be surprised how much all of that costs in doing so.
Yeah.
I mean, just the pod alone was like $4,000 to ship it across the country. The numbers were crazy, and they piled on like that.
Yeah, instantly. And I'm very lucky that I had a friend organize a GoFundMe. I was able, I'm okay. But again, brought me extreme appreciation for what I have. And you realize that for some people that it's so fragile that you are okay and you're paying your bills, and then something like that happens and you can't. So I am lucky that I was able to go home. And we had a lot go on in the last 6 months. So in the last 6 months,
it's been a busy 6 months.
Yeah, I flew home. We moved into his house. And then when that sold, we moved in with his mom, who was very gracious to have us in her basement apartment. Matt's still working full time while we shop and buy a van, which was much more expensive and much less available in 2021 versus the first one I bought in 2019. So we drove all the way to Haverhill, Massachusetts, about 4 hours away from our home in New York, purchased this van, and got to work. And then in December, Matt quit his job, and we put in about like a solid month and a half of nonstop work. So we were able
just
to finish
every day, 8-10 hours a day.
Just grinding, yeah,
just to get it done. I mean, it's also the middle of the winter too, so
in New York,
the accident came at a horrible time, because there were some days we were out there building it and it was like 15 degrees out and you can't feel your fingertips anymore.
Yeah. So, but we were just so desperate. You know, I missed. It was such a moment of clarity for me personally, for Matt personally, and for us as a couple, because the accident happened. I called and told him that the van that we poured our heart and souls into was gone.
That was one of the hardest parts.
Yeah.
It's just knowing that all of that time, it was over a year we were working on it, and was just gone in an instant. And
there's nothing, especially like if both of us, like you couldn't be there. That was a struggle. And then obviously for me, the physical and emotional trauma, but it was just... So, but the cool thing is we were both on the same page. It was right away like, we'll shop for a van. There was no like, oh, maybe we'll settle down and buy a house instead. You know,
so when's our next van gonna get here?
Yeah. So we were hungry for it. And I realized, you know, being home in New York, like I love my friends and family, but like that was my life. And I had started to build this beautiful life and online community with Flutus with a van, and I missed it so very much. So we worked our butts off to finish this van, completed it in January, and we hit the road in February. I plan on making a pretty extensive YouTube video when I am done with the lawyers and the insurance company in a month or so to explain, because I hit the internet hard. I learned like the van life community is amazing and they will teach you anything that they have to offer, but there's not a lot of information that I could find about accidents, about navigating insurance,
about buying the right insurance policy, because that's one thing that I've learned is she was directed one way, and as soon as the accident happened, they were like, oh no, that doesn't cover you in such and such way.
Yeah, and again, I'll go into great detail on that in the video I'm going to make in a month or so. But it was a huge learning experience, and I'm very excited to turn around and give that back to my community. And you know, it's March right now, and there was just a huge tornado that came through Texas, and we've heard of a lot of people. I'm scrolling Instagram and I see a Ford Transit smashed in the state. It looks so similar to what happened to mine. And obviously that just...
It definitely tugged on the heartstrings.
Yeah, it just broke my heart, and I was able to reach out to someone who just is going through what I went through. And that's so powerful. So I'm excited to share what I've learned about insurance and money things and all the nitty-gritty parts of life.
Luckily we got through all of that though, and
yeah,
we're on to the next chapter.
Yeah, and it just brought us closer together, which is really the cool thing about the van in general, is that, you know, I was living in New York, I was a musician, I was woke, I was, you know, paying my bills, but it just wasn't it. And I knew that I was struggling with depression and anxiety, and I knew that I needed to get away and change my lifestyle. So that's what brought me to the van. YouTube allowed me to know about van life, fell in love with it, and then Matt, who's working a 9-to-5, owns a house, starts visiting me.
I've been working in the New York City construction market for the last 12 years or so, and if you know anything about it, it's nonstop. You're expected to answer and be there, you know, every minute of every day, and it just takes a toll on you. And I know I haven't done it nearly as long as plenty of the other people out there, but for me, I knew that I needed to change for myself and for my own quality of life and happiness.
Yeah.
So the struggle for me was, well, I'm a project manager for a roofing contractor. How do I do that from the road? Luckily, in high school and college, I took AutoCAD courses, so I have a background in AutoCAD. I was able to start up a business, Saucy Drafting and Consulting, doing drawings, shop drawings and design work in a freelance fashion. That I can do from right here. I can do it from the road, anywhere, as long as I have an internet connection. So I'm excited to be building that business and basically moving forward with the next chapter of my life.
Yeah, which is, yeah, I'm just so grateful that I took this initial leap. There's this picture of me, which maybe we can put in there, when I came home with the first van that I bought, and it's me just sitting there, a picture from the back doors, and just this empty cavern of a van. I didn't know what I was doing. I told Matt, and I was like, will you help me? And he was like, okay. Like, he didn't know what I was talking about, and I'm just like, I think
sure,
about...
you can use my tools.
Yeah, you know, I had to go to the bank and get a loan. I'm a musician. I had never gotten a loan for anything, you know what I mean? And I'm so glad that I took that leap of faith, because it has just led to so much joy in my life, including our connection, just getting even deeper and getting to make all these memories together. So now that we have our new van, everything's back to normal. My life is back on track. We traveled Florida for the past 2 months. We did Florida quite extensively.
We knew a lot of people there too, so it was a lot of like
Friends and
bouncing
family.
from one spot to the next spot.
Yeah.
And staying and visiting family for a few days or a few weeks at a time.
And we have a vlog up about Central Florida, kayaking and snorkeling and all that stuff. We came home for a week for insurance reasons, which again, I'll get into. I have lots to say about that.
Good reasons this time though, or better reasons this time.
Yeah, exactly. And our plans for here on out are quite open. We're leaving from here in Jersey to go to the Southwest for a bachelor party that we've got, but also we'll hang around that area. Then we'll come home for June for our friend's wedding and to visit and do a couple projects, because there are always projects. And then we're going to drive through Canada to Alaska. So that's quite exciting, and we're happy. If you check out my
really
Instagram
looking forward to
stories,
that.
I'm always sharing what we're up to, the food, the music, the travel, Izzy. So that's what's next for us. And we had talked about maybe buying a home, but we kind of decided to put that on the back burner, and we're using this time not only just for each moment, but also we can decide
where we want to
where
end
we
up,
want to settle.
where we want to land. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's a big thing for me. I knew I kind of wanted to get away from New York. I've been there my whole life.
Same.
But I don't really know exactly where I want to be, and it's a great opportunity to explore.
Yeah, we both know that we want to be, you know, we want to be near an airport for family to visit. We want to be near culture for music and arts for me. So yeah, the future is pretty open for us. We're excited to keep sharing our journeys online on YouTube and Instagram, keep building our individual businesses, Flutist of the Van and Saucy Design.
Saucy drafting and consulting.
Saucy Drafting and Consulting. I get it messed up all the time. We just got a tire cover in the back that has our both of our logos for our business, which is pretty cool. So our future is bright and open and free, just like we like it.
Well, thank you very much for giving us a tour of your beautiful creation. Thanks for coming back on the channel and sharing the story. I'll make sure I link to your Instagrams and as well as a YouTube channel that you're doing now. And by the way, your Instagram stories are amazing. They're so enjoyable. So I like clicking through them. There's lots of great detail, but a lot of our viewers are going to be curious about the insurance part.
Yeah.
So we can't wait for that video to come up. This is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like this video, comment, share, and subscribe. I love it. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Take care.